Okay, now back to the video again. So in the last video we were checking how if and else work. Now there is another advanced form which is if and else if, because right now you don't see any condition with the else. What if you want to add another condition as well? Then and only then else will gonna run. So for that we have another statement called else if, and this is how it goes. You see, same thing, we just copy from here and paste right after the else. This will become another condition making or decision making statement. Now here only it will gonna run, for instance, if b is equals to c, or we can say if b less than equals to c. And now we're gonna set this to 6, and this condition else if will gonna run. Let's remove this, save it. Else if runs because 2 equals to 4, false. 2 equals to 6, false. Now it get back here with the else, and it sees that there is another if which need to be checked in order to run this statement. So we are checking again, b is 4. 4 less than equals to 6. Yeah, it is less than. 4 is smaller than 6. Run this one. And now if you want again the same default else which will gonna run if any of the condition doesn't match, then as always else will gonna run if you want, and if you don't want you can remove it. These kind of situations come when you have a multiple logic building. Imagine if you are having a website and you are using a one login page to log in all your users, and you have a user type admins, teachers, student. All of them will gonna log in through the same login panel. So you can use this type of if else condition. So for instance, you will check if a user is admin, then do something about it here in this closure. If a user is teacher, then do something about here. Maybe give them a more access to the URLs and give them a ability to edit a lecture or something. And if he is an admin, give a ability to talk to teacher, manage the teachers, opening and closing of the school timing and everything. And if he is a simple student, you can also add another condition here. Just like that, you can go on and on. No matter how many if and else condition you want, you can add as much as you want as related to your program. So in our case, we don't need all the if else. To make you understand, we can just use 2 of them. So in the scenario, you can simply just set if this condition true, then done. No need to go to the further one, because if you want all of them to check, for instance, if you are going with the form, right? If you are going with the form, you have to check each of the field. So you cannot use else if. You have to use all the fields with the if condition. If this is empty, throw an error. Write a user a error. Username is empty. If password is empty, write if password is empty. But there might be a condition where your client will gonna ask, throw just one error at a time. I don't want the page to go all the way. If you are using a long form, submission form or something, your client might gonna ask you that, okay, just one error at a time. So in that situation, you have to use else if, because what's the difference between multiple ifs and else if is that if you set ifs, all of them will gonna check, all of them will run one by one. But if you use else if, it will only gonna check one condition, whichever get meet. If you have all bunch of else if, it will check this. If this is not true, then it will go to next. If next is not true, then it will go again to the next. And for instance, this condition get match, it will not gonna go to all the rest of the condition. It will gonna end the entire else if from here. Will not gonna go and check for the others. That's the difference between simple if and else if. And if none of the condition make and you don't even have a else, it will not gonna do anything. But if you have else, Just as we discussed, it will always gonna run when none of the condition will be met. So that's the difference between simple if and else if. It gives you more ability, more flexibility, more compatibility against simple if. And it's again depend on what you are building. Like as I gave you the example, if your client asking you to check all the fields in the form, you have to go with if, simple ifs. No need to put else if, else if. But if your client is asking only one error, like for instance, you have three fields, giving you the example, username, email, and password. And your client saying, okay, if a user do not submit all three, I don't care, just send one error message that the first one is empty. If a user add username and left the email and password, then just throw one error, your email is empty, not the password. But after filling the email, you can throw the password error. In that situation, you have to go with else if. But your client is saying, no, throw all three errors at the same time, then you have to go with if. I hope I have covered all the details that you were looking for, but still, if you are confused and do not understand, feel free to ask me. Thank you. Bye.